G'day everyone, it's Steve Tolen. I'm here for our first episode of Change the Game for 2026 and I hope everybody is well. And what a special episode we've got for you today. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by someone I've known for many years, a good friend through the industry, Shelley Lilleyman, who's an account executive at JobAdder. Shelley, I'm just so blessed and so grateful that she agreed to kind of come on to the episode when she messaged me and said, you know, would my story be something that you'd be willing to share? And honestly, if you said to me when I was putting this podcast together, who would be the ideal fit? It was Shelley. So I'm really, really proud and pleased to have her here today telling the story and a little bit of background. Earlier this year, about late May, June, Shelley and I caught up, and it was just before I was actually moving on to the next venture with Stolen+Co. And we caught up, had a coffee at the JobAdder office over at the WeWork. And what I didn't know, and I think Shelley didn't know at the time, was that she was having some serious kind of stomach issues, and the next kind of couple of months were definitely not as planned. So without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce Shelley. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Absolutely delighted to have you here, and as I said, I mean every word. When you messaged me and said, can I come and tell my story, I was so pleased, so proud, so thank you very much. And
you were my first choice, you were my only choice.
Stop it.
Honestly, because I trust you, we're friends, and you've been with me through the whole sort of journey, so it made sense.
Thank you so much. I always like to kind of start off, you know, we don't go kind of script this, but tell us a little bit about who you are. I guess, you know, what it is you're about to talk about today, and I guess why you really wanted to kind of come and share the journey today.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm Shelley from UK, as you can probably tell. I've been in Australia for 11 years. Background is recruitment. I worked in recruitment for nearly 15 years, moved into textiles, recruitment tech. My upbringing, north of England, who my sort of background is, like, what do I'm a loyal friend. I love sports, as you know, the football, the soccer, whatever you want to call it. I can't call it soccer because nobody's going to allow that. So yeah, like I've always been really kind of, I've always worked in sales. I've worked in sales since I was 16, and I've been on this journey, and I think what happened was sort of out of the blue, really freak, not like, and it all happened so fast. So I think working through that, and being part of this industry that we're in together, I think it just makes sense to sort of share my journey, share awareness, and how I've managed to cope and deal with what happened. So
you've done it with real aplomb in your own way, and with great humility. You're really downplaying what you've kind of been through. So what wasn't out of the blue, it was Everton getting beat. So I remember messaging you. Pretty standard. Your team lead did us in August. And that was the first that I actually knew about what you were going through, because you responded when you said, do you want to kind of just take us back to kind of May, June, I guess, and just really catch what was going on?
And I think your sort of how you've just explained it was kind of like it came out of the blue, but all my friends and everybody was kind of saying the same things. I was so blasé about how I explained what had happened, because I was still processing it because it all happened so fast. So around April, May time, I started with a pain in my tummy. Describe it as an alien was talking to me. That's a little bit weird. Anyway, kind of got a bit more frequent. I started to get a little bit more ill. It took a little bit of time, but then it got to the point where I needed to go to A&E. I was in so much pain. So this is kind of how fast it happened. I had no symptoms before that. Completely fit and well. I never got to the doctors and never get sick. So I took myself to A&E, and things weren't right. They weren't quite sure what was going on, so they sent me home, sent me for tests. I was at home, and I just thought I can't stay at home and wait for these tests because I'm actually really in a lot of pain. So within a week, I'd been to A&E once, I'd been sent home, I'd been referred for tests, and I was back in A&E. And that's when they admitted me into hospital, and they told me that they think I've got a tumour. It didn't take, I didn't have time to process anything. Obviously, hearing the word tumour, nobody ever wants to hear those words, but again, I didn't have time to process it. So within sort of 3 days, I was on a ward, being told I need surgery. In my head, they were like, you've got a blockage in your bowel, we think you've got a tumour, but we need to operate.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna operate, take out the blockage, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I was told really, really quickly, at the same time that the doctor was explaining to the students that they're gonna remove the whole of my large intestine.
Yeah.
That was when reality kind of hit, and I was like, what? Okay, this is what's happening to me, is it? So again, I didn't really have time to think or process it because I was having the surgery, I think, the next day.
Yeah.
So my stepdad passed away of colon cancer, which is really ironic. 5 years ago, obviously his stepdad, not blood related, it's not the genetics, but very kind of reality hit you there. They weren't sure whether they would need to take, I would need a colostomy bag. They didn't know what they were going into because usually they would test, find the tumour, then figure it out. But then, because I was in an accident and emergency, they had to remove everything first and then find out what was going on.
Do you think, because again, trying to process the magnitude of this, you kind of in fight or flight, do you think the speed at which everything was happening in some ways,
Silver lining.
silver lining,
100%.
coping mechanism?
Yeah. Because I didn't have time to sit on it, I didn't have time to think, it was just like, bang, 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 this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So I didn't really deep what was going on, and I'm kind of not that kind of person anyway.
Yeah.
I take things as they come.
Yeah.
And deal with them as they are, day by day. I don't really try not to overthink about things anyway, which is quite bizarre considering this is a really serious thing to process.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did happen so fast, and I tried to find a silver lining in everything.
Yep.
And I think that was my saving grace, was being able to think of it like that. Like, if I hadn't have had a blockage in my bowel, I wouldn't have found the tumour. So when they took everything out, luckily I didn't need a colostomy bag. Yep. They did have to open me up, full surgery, which was completely fine. I was fine with that. But the silver lining was that I got a blockage in the bowel. If I hadn't have got that, the tumour was only 2 centimetres long. Yeah. So I wouldn't have found that, and it had just maybe grown over a long period of time, and who knows, eventually killed me. You don't know. Yeah. So I'm just really grateful that I got that sick and that I advocated for my own health, because they kept sending me home, and I was just like, actually, I'm not going home. I'm not going home. You're dealing with me.
I need sorting out.
Yeah, and my manager, Dan, like, I have to give him so much, like, thanks, because he was really behind me all the time. He's like, you can do this, you can ask these questions, like, this is your health. Yeah. Advocate for it. Don't just take what they're saying to you if something isn't right. Yeah. And that's another silver lining that I'm really grateful about how I am, is that I am really in tune with my body. Yeah. And I listened to it.
So let's go, I suppose, kind of post-surgery. Mm-hmm. You know, you kind of processing this. Or what was the kind of almost the aftermath? You kind of, post the kind of, what was that like? What was kind of going through your mind?
Do you know what? Not a lot, to be honest. Okay. It's really weird how I am. I try not to
say weird, let's say quite inspiring.
Whatever you want to call it. So some people might say weird, some people might say inspirational, some might say annoying, I don't know. Yeah. But I try not to think about the past, I try not to think about the present, I'll just try to be in the moment. And I think we had this conversation, I'd read 2 books prior to being sick, like a few years ago, The Power of Now and The Untethered Soul, and they both taught me about being present in the moment and just turning off this internal voice. So I felt like it wasn't happening to me. I felt like I was living in a body that didn't belong to me. So I didn't really, it was like, when can I get back to work? That's all I kept thinking. Is like, I recovered from surgery really, really fast. Yeah. I think 2 weeks all in all, and I was kind of back. Yeah. I was showering myself in the hospital. Yeah. And the nurse came in and she was like, have you just washed your own hair? And I was like, yeah, why? And she was just like, whoa. So I just was like, no, this is not happening to me. I'm not going to let this affect me. And just cracked on. I was doing a face mask, whitening my teeth, doing fake tan in the hospital. I was in for 2 weeks. The nurses kept coming in and they were like, I don't think I've ever had a patient quite like you. Yeah. But I didn't want to sit and lean into the illness and feel any worse than what was already the reality. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really overthink too much. I was just like, this is happening, this is what I've got to do, move on.
So the power of a positive, you've always been a very positive kind of person. It didn't alter you kind of after you like, I'm dealing with this. It sounds like you really processed it quite quickly.
Yeah.
You're like,
I mean, maybe I'm deluded, maybe I'm in denial, maybe I haven't processed it. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I've not always been like so positive, but I think I taught myself over the years to not live in a victim mentality. I mean, look, we've moved to the other side of the world, not because we're happy where we came from. So there's obviously been things that I've worked through from my life and things, but I've actually got to a point now where I am very positive. I never look negatively on anything, and I just try to take things as they come, deal with them, move on.
And I want to point out, today is Friday. Yesterday you had your...
I'm still on the chemo.
You're on your chemo as we speak, which I think, I'm not trying to downplay this, it's the opposite. I'm just kind of, like if I've got a sore toenail or something, like people will know about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's ironic because I genuinely mean this. When I had this vision of putting this podcast here, Change the Game, the mindset, the mastery, the reason I wanted the boxing gym is because life's a battle, and honestly you are the best example of someone, I think, in terms of, you know, you roll with the punches, literally. So again, I can only tip my hat off to you because I think the power of a positive mindset. I think I spoke to many people, you know, colleagues, friends at JobAdder, and saying you're so inspirational. I mean, you took literally 2 weeks off work, right, before you were to get back into it. They weren't forcing us to go back to work, people.
It
was the opposite.
It was the opposite. I was like, right, when can I come back? And I went back to work full time straight away after having my full large intestine removed. But I think again, this is another silver lining.
Yep.
My body is amazing. It recovered very fast. And that's obviously testament to how I've looked after it. But I mean, I'm not going to play that I'm completely innocent in life. I do like to enjoy myself as well. But it recovered very fast. And I kept saying to my surgeon, I'm so thankful, you're amazing. And he kept stopping me and saying, this is you, this is your body. Yeah. So yeah, I went back to work full time straight away. I work in sales and I love what I do. So it wasn't hard for me to want to do that. It gave me purpose, it gave me a way to kind of move on and just crack on. But it did take me, so that August I started the chemo. July the 1st is when I had my surgery. Yep. So I had a little bit of time between that to recover, and then the chemo started. So I haven't really had a chance to stop and think, and just cracked on. But then it came to like September, October, and the chemo brain just really kind of started to take an impact, because I'm doing software demos and I will book them back to back because I'm a crazy person. But I got to the point where my brain just wasn't functioning, the words were not coming out. And I said to my boss, I kind of need to maybe go part-time. That wasn't the conversation. I don't think it was me saying I want to go part-time, but it was like, Michelle, like, when are you going to sort of take a step back? And at that point, I was like, my health now needs to come first. And that, again, changed the game for me, because I did start to put my health first, worked part-time, and then I managed to just feel so much better. The work that I was doing made more sense. I was computing, I was able to just give everything 100% what I was doing, but I went to like 2-3 days a week, and then I've just had 3 weeks off, and now I'm back full time. So I'm going to do the last 3 rounds. Hopefully this will be done by the 19th of Feb, and I'm going to work full time up until then, and then take a couple of weeks off, because those breaks is what I've realised is working full time and pushing yourself like that is not a badge of honour. You can't do that forever, and that's one thing that I have learned through this, is that time off has really helped my recovery.
Sales, I think, you know, sales, we lose deals, this, that, it's the end of the world. Do you think that sales mentality, the resilience, etc., do you think helped, or do you think the illness and what you've kind of been through has helped give you, I get a bit of a different perspective, or more? Does that make sense?
I'd say both. Like, I've always been really sporty, so that brings resilience anyway. I've always been into sports from school. I was part of a dance troupe when I was
Believe that.
yeah, I was a majorette. Would you believe it? The worst kind of like, it's not very cool, but it was the best time of my life growing up, being a part of that. So I've always had that sort of resilience and that team spirit, but definitely having this diagnosis and having this health issue has really let me lean into embracing life, and that life can just change in a heartbeat. Like, I was never expecting that to happen, and I think that's given me a zest for life even more. And I do believe that I've had a glow up during cancer and chemo. Like, my best friend Anthony said to me, he's like, I don't know what's going on with you, babe, but chemo's doing something different to you what it does to most people. And I've elevated. Like, this is the best I've ever felt. And it's crazy.
And she's still available, she points out this morning, is that correct?
Single and ready to
Single,
mingle.
single, ready to mingle. So there you go. There you
Open
go.
to take us.
She'll be plenty, she'll be plenty. That leads really well into the next kind of question, because I said to you today, how did you deal with the dark days? And you kind of blew my mind. You went, I haven't had any. I mean, I cannot really not underplay. It's just, I think for anybody, and as I said, we've all had the sniffles, we've all had this, and I can't do anything. So when you're dealing with this, something which is quite, like, again, I'm just in awe, like, in terms of, so just run us through that.
And I sometimes think that people think I'm masking it. And it was quite beautiful that my mum's just been out for 5 weeks. First time she's ever visited Australia, and really luckily my friends did a GoFundMe page to pay for her to do that. So she came out and she just said it was really, really refreshing to see that what I put on social media is actually reality. Because I'm quite an advocate for not putting things out there like the Insta versus reality type thing. But I said to my mum, this is how I actually am. And she was like, it actually is. Like, you don't get down. I did have, I wouldn't say dark days, I had some challenges early on because I've got this port that I have my chemo through, but I had one fitted at this side and it got infected, so I was on antibiotics, I was in and out of hospital. That's the only time that I really cried and I really struggled because they just couldn't get this right. And I did get to the point where I was like, I'm stopping chemo, I'm not doing it, I do not want these health professionals to be in charge of my recovery anymore, I'm going to do it myself. Quite quickly, I didn't really change my mind, I was already kind of in the process anyway, so it was probably harder to pull out of the process anyway, but I did start to lose faith. And it was upsetting because like I said, I don't go to the doctors, I don't get ill. So then to be living in a world where you're constantly in the hospital, I was at the hospital 4 or 5 times a week. I just wanted to work, just wanted to be normal, and that was really put a roadblock in the way. So that was, I wouldn't say dark time, but it was a tough time.
But luckily you have Shell's Angels.
Shell's Angels.
I'll make this up.
I don't know if my friends, they actually do love this. So I found that I was getting so many messages that I can't take credit for that. I think I called it like something really rubbish, like Shell's Healing or something really cheesy. My friend was like, no, what about Shell's Angels? And I was like, that's way better. But people were messaging me so much, because I've obviously got friends here, but I've friends in the UK as well. And then people were constantly messaging me because the way that I delivered the information was just so blasé. Then when my friends set up the GoFundMe page, it was a slap of reality. They were like, whoa, we didn't realise what was going on.
And to be clear, you didn't ask for the guy, and I remember you were very anti, you know.
Yeah, it made me feel very strange. But she came to me and she said, I don't think you realise how much this is going to impact you financially. Number one, your sales are going to be impacted at work, which obviously affects your commission. I make good money. Obviously, I'm not working at full capacity. Not really thought about that because I was just like, no, I'm going to work full time. But medical appointments, I get Ubers back and forth to the hospital. Like, that was racking up $500 a week at some point. So she just said, we all want to help. And I said, no, I don't need money. I get paid well. I don't want it. And she was like, I think we want to do this as your friends, and we want to pay for your mum to come out. We want you to just take away that financial burden. So, and I think that's got like $30,000 in it, which blew me away. And I think sharing my story and asking for help and then letting people in has been the biggest part of my recovery. I couldn't have done it, but I'm probably going to cry now. I couldn't have done it without them. And when people were messaging me, checking in on me, I found that I was constantly repeating my message. So I said, do you mind me adding you into this WhatsApp group? There's 89 people in that. And they're all my friends that are solids. Like there's nobody in there that is not solid. They're not just, I'm not just throwing anybody in there. And I'm sure a lot of people have got it on new, which is completely fine. I didn't do it for responses and communication. I just wanted a place where I could just share my appointments with my oncologist, the updates, how I'm feeling, and they've all been incredible. Incredible. If I need a lift, if I need some food bringing to the hospital, if I need picking up, just how I'm doing. So that Shell's Angels and that GoFundMe page, so thank you Ashley, has been incredible.
It's still open.
It is still open.
Still bills are still racking up.
But I will say, I don't need or want anything, but it does really help in being able to do the things more freely and not have to worry. Because obviously it doesn't end after chemo. I've then got to go through therapy to process it. I've then got to go through the scans, the anticipation, the anxiety. So just keeping myself fit and well throughout that doesn't come cheap. So yeah, it is still open, and that's the only reason I've kept it open is because I do get a lot of messages. People want to help, and I think that's been the most beautiful thing is how my work network, not that I'm taking anything away from my friends, I've been completely blown away by that. No, you go.
You talk about therapy, which being in sales, I think most of us need therapy. And you segue then into your work friends because you're still closing deals and still doing deals, right? I mean, again, no one's forcing you, but I love the tenacity, the resilience, etc. This grit. I mean, this is real grit, right? You can't fake this. But did that help you mentally? Do you think focusing and doing stuff productive, almost kind of doing things that you're passionate about, right? Did that really help, do you think, with the healing?
100%. Because it gives you purpose. And you're not just sat around dwelling and thinking about what's going on. I genuinely love my job. I love working for JobAdder. That is the best job I've ever had, and I really enjoy what I do. So going back to work really did help my recovery. And I think obviously my surgery was on the 1st of July, the beginning of the financial year. My first half of the year, I'm 80% of my attainment on my target. And that's going through surgery, starting chemo, nearly finishing chemo, and I closed my biggest deal ever. I had been working at it for over a year, so I'd done a lot of the heavy lifting, but the client went through the whole process with me. I was in their office when I was having these weird alien noises in my tummy, so they went through that whole, and the fact that I still kept turning up and doing the meetings face to face with them, that definitely, I'm not going to say was the reason that I won that deal, but they were in our.
But I think you make a good point, and I think it's so many things that go into it, and it's a very extreme example, but I think listening to you about your network, the power of human connection, I think more and more now people are getting isolated, right? They're not connected. Social media, you talk about, people, we hear a lot about the negatives, but again, the way that you talked about it was so positive, right? The Instagram, the groups, various kind of things. And I think, I love this story because if I look, but I want to check, relationships, we talk about sales, it's all about people, right? It is a people to contact sport. And we often kind of forget that, and people will buy it, and I think there's so many things, there's so many kind of powerful messages here, I think, so it doesn't surprise me if the clients kind of bought it, people will be 100% will be rooting for you, so.
I kind of just treat my clients like my friends, probably sometimes a little bit too much because I do get quite comfortable, but that's what I find, like you said, it's all about people. And if they feel that they can trust you, you kind of already halfway there. I mean, I've got an incredible product, so that does make that part of things easy. But being able to be personable and for people to see that vulnerability and to see who you are as a real person takes away that you're not selling to someone, you're consulting with them, you're doing something that's right for them, and that's why I'm such an advocate for what I do, is because it's helping businesses, it's helping people, and that's a huge passion of mine is just genuinely helping people through personal and professional.
Question for you, what would the old Shelley
do differently to kind of the Shelley can't post what you've just been through? What would you tell yourself, or would you do anything different?
I actually don't think I would. I genuinely, I don't know if that's I don't know if my ego is in that bit, but I genuinely don't, because I think what I've done has worked. I think obviously going through this has evolved me from the old Shelley into the new Shelley, but that new Shelley's way elevated, and I'm in such a good place mentally. Physically, I'm on the mend. I've had no side effects really from the chemo. People keep messaging me asking me if this is my real hair. It is my real hair. It does feel like candy floss at the moment, but it is my real hair.
Okay.
But I don't think I could have done anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to be big-headed. I just feel like the way that I have handled it, and I'm quite proud of myself.
You should, yes, and you should be. I think that's all the statements. Again, listening to it, and I met with it, so many conversations in there last week, and you say, how do you feel? I feel fine, and you're cracking on. I know today you said you do get tired, right? So I think, again, people admire you. I think it's very inspiring to people. I guess on that point, what would you say to anyone that's kind of going through health battles, right? That's been impacted. What advice would you give?
I think you've got two choices. You can either lean into it, and you can really make that illness or that problem be a part of you. And I firmly believe that that's just going to make you feel worse.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, so I don't take for granted that isn't a hard task. Or you can decide to just ignore and move on. My oncologist says to me, are you still going out? He knows I like to go clubbing. He's all for it because he knows I enjoy dancing.
Yeah.
And as long as my blood tests are fine, I'm not taking anything too far.
Yeah.
But I think just keeping yourself doing the things that you love, and like I said, just not leaning into it and letting that illness define you as a person is the biggest thing and try not to listen to what's going on in you, because one of my friends calls it the shitty committee. Yeah. It is just a voice, and if you can sort of shut that off, then that is a really good technique that I've learned, is to not listen to it and do things that you enjoy. Don't stop. Whatever it is. I've not stopped going out, and sometimes I won't leave the club till 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Sober, but semi-sober. I can't claim to be sober. But I just enjoy the music. Anything that's going to do that, just keep doing the things that light you up. Whatever it is, just don't stop.
Do you know, there's so many powerful messages to unpack. I'm blown away by this again. You've not let it control you. You're in control, right?
Yes.
This is my life. You're still going out. You're still doing everything. And there's so many kind of powerful messages there. I mean, from the health angle to people dealing with pressure dealing with at work or in life, etc. Again, what has that taught you about dealing with sort of this kind of extremity to just dealing with everyday kind of pressure? Because it seems like it's all sort of comes back.
Yeah, that's genuinely helps. Yeah, I don't actually know how I am like I am. Probably ADHD maybe helps, so I'm just like it whatever. I genuinely don't. It's really hard to explain because I've never really thought about why I am the way that I am or how I've become that way. So it is kind of hard to put into words because I genuinely don't really know, but I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
I've been very, very, very lucky in the fact that I've recovered well. Side effects have been very low. So I don't take that away from people that might not have that experience, because that's my journey and I'm incredibly grateful that that's the way that I've handled it. So I think I just play gratitude to that and just think you've got one body, you have to look after it. Health is wealth, as cheesy as that might sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, just playing gratitude to where I'm at and kind of leaning into that is how don't know.
I don't think I've got anything else to add to that, Jeff. I think, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your story. I feel very grateful, very blessed. It's so inspiring. And again, we all have ups and downs, whether it's financial, whether it's whatever. I think you've got a lot of stuff in perspective. The way you've dealt with it and just literally rolled with the punches, again, the boxing metaphor is, is the best example. You're just dealing with it, you're rolling with it, you can't kind of keep moving forward. So thank you very much. And any final words that you'd like to say, Gladys?
No, I think just thank you for helping me have this sort of platform to be able to share what's actually been going on and how I really am feeling. So thank you for letting me do it. I wouldn't have trusted anybody else.
It really means a lot. So thank you, and hope we don't need to translate to the two Northerners. But,
Oh, good luck for the game on Tuesday.
we've got Leeds, so hopefully we'll do the double
Well,
ones.
I don't know. We're playing pretty well at the minute,
I know,
good luck, hold on tight. I'm not so confident, I shouldn't say that, but
Thank
we'll
you.
see.
Shelley, thank you. It's been fantastic. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I don't even know how to kind of summarize that. I think it's fantastic. The power of the spirit, the power of the mind, the positivity, keep moving forwards, rolling with the punches. There's so much there I can't need to unpack. Thank you for listening. Show notes will be in there, as will the link to the GoFundMe. Thank you very much. Shelley, thank you.
Thank you.
Speak to you again soon.